Welcome, everyone, to Friday, August 18th, 2017's edition of WTMI, also known as Way Too Much Information. We keep up with it so you don't have to. In a nutshell today, in Lake County, a civil suit changes pot raid policy because the sheriff's office revises rules to require search warrants or consent. For what you might add, thank you, Julie Johnson at the Press Democrat. A group of Lake County residents who filed a federal civil rights suit against the sheriff's office after deputies cut down their cannabis plants have prevailed in getting local law enforcement to change tactics. The issue centers on how deputies investigated whether residents were following rules for marijuana cultivation spelled out in the county's ordinance. In the summer of 2014, a law enforcement team eradicated small marijuana gardens of mostly elderly residents but didn't have search warrants or permission to enter the homes or yards.
Not good.
And not without objection.
Shame.
In a $250,000 settlement, a federal judge in May ordered the county to rewrite department policy regarding deputies and requiring them to get search warrants, code inspection warrants, or written consent from the property owner before entering private land when enforcing county's cultivation ordinance, said attorney Joe Elford, by the way, who's an old friend of ours at Americans for Safe Access, who represented continued on A6. The 9 residents who launched the case. A federal judge finally rules the U.S. Constitution prevails. Elford said they were doing these raids left and right, and now they've stopped. Poor, elderly, sick medical marijuana patients achieved their goals in federal court. Lake County Sheriff Brian Martin said the change approved last month focuses on how his office enforces county rules and shifts most responsibility to the Community Development Department in charge of county codes. The settlement and new policy doesn't change how Sheriff's Office investigates suspected criminal drug activity, particularly with marijuana gardens planted on public lands or with flagrant disregard for state compassionate use laws, according to the sheriff. The policy we have, he says, doesn't do anything more than ensures the public we respect their constitutional rights. Martin said, it's not an imposition, it's not an inconvenience, it's a reminder that's consistent with our core values. On August 1st, 2014, under the direction of then Sheriff Frank Rivero, deputies cut down 9 gardens ranging in size from 6 to 25 plants, court records show. 5 of the residents were in their 60s and 70s, and all were growing the plants to help with health conditions allowed under state medical marijuana laws, according to the complaint. 4 plaintiffs weren't home at the time of the raids, and others said they didn't consent to give deputies access or felt intimidated and allowed them in. One plaintiff, Nicole Van Schaik, then 44, said officers threatened to arrest her husband, then when he asked if they had a warrant. Their 5 children, ages 5 to 22, were home at the time, according to the court files. The plaintiffs originally filed suit in September 2014, arguing the sheriff's office's paramilitary-style raids violated their due process rights, as well as their state and federal constitutional rights to protection from unlawful search and seizure and invasion of privacy.
Yes.
Well, the county argued that the deputies were trying to enforce a new county marijuana cultivation ordinance, which allowed them to immediately abate gardens not complying with the rules. But a federal judge rejected the county's argument that the gardens were urgent issues that couldn't wait the day or so required to get a judge-signed search warrant. In October 2014, a judge issued a preliminary injunction barring the sheriff's office from the warrantless abatement actions against medical marijuana patients, stating, the protection of constitutional rights and the guarantee of access to state-recognized medicine tilts the scales in favor of plaintiffs, said U.S. Judge District Selton E. Henderson. U.S. District Judge Selton E. Henderson deserves a thank you from all of us, I do believe. The sides reached a settlement agreement this May, and the sheriff's policy was revised in late July. Now, if you want to say thank you to Julie Johnson for writing this article, you can contact her as is indicated on the screen. In other unrelated news, where'd it go? You know how the paper can be. There's a fellow who had to resign. Oh, well, I guess we'll dig him up later. And, however, on the elemental systems restoration front, we've got a new push to stem Russian River pollution, and a plan would affect some homeowners with older wastewater systems. Goodness gracious, this sounds like that. Like news for Bruce Campbell and Charles Gray. Have a great day, everyone.